XDefiant is blowing up again. Many people are calling it the Call of Duty killer, and over the weekend it had an open beta running on all platforms. Its popularity is soaring, and having played both of the betas personally, the latest version had made some big improvements. The netcode is a bit spotty, and yeah, on PC there's some problems with the mouse and performance that I hope they can iron out. Oh, and the spider bot is the most broken thing in the game, but for the most part it's just a fun arcade FPS game that does exactly what it says on the tin. But why are people enjoying this so much, and what is its secret? Well, depending on your gaming preferences, I'm sure that you'd get a different answer, but in my opinion, it's got snappy movement, fun gunplay, and it's reminiscent of old COD games in how it plays and its map design. However, I think there is another huge factor, and we're going to be discussing that in this video. If you play multiplayer FPS video games, you may have heard of the term SBMM. It's an acronym for skill-based matchmaking, elaborate and often invisible systems designed to create balanced matches and put players of similar skill level together. It's very common for online shooters to have this, and features extensively in most PvP games like COD, Apex, Halo, etc. XDefiant, however, claim that this game does not have skill-based matchmaking in its casual game modes, and what makes this interesting is that the lead on this project is an ex-Call of Duty executive producer by the name of Mark Rubin, and he has been very outspoken so far about it on Twitter in the past. So we're going to take a look at some times that he's mentioned this. I'm not a fan of SBMM. I don't like how it treats players. When I was at Infinity Ward making COD, you could see it being pushed on us from the top. I left and I'm now making a new FPS without SBMM. Ranked is where that belongs. I think it will be a better experience for players. You should be in a match that has players better than you and worse than you. The experience then is more varied, and as long as the team balancing is fair, you still have a chance to win your match, and you get to see yourself get better over time. The official XDefiant Twitter account posted this too. No SBMM in casual, we know a game. Ranked matchmaking will be based on rank, casual will be based on ping. There will be no SBMM in casual. Casual teams will be balanced after the lobby is made based on hidden MMR, so that each team has a fair chance to win. And MMR, by the way, stands for matchmaking rating, and in most games a player will have a hidden value assigned to them based on their stats. The point is that the XDefiant team here are almost using the fact that XDefiant won't form lobbies based on MMR as a marketing bullet point. But why? What is the appeal for the average gamer here, and how does no SBMM feel in XDefiant? How does it actually impact any given player's experience? From my experience with this game so far, each lobby feels different and random. Sometimes you will win easily, others will be a closely fought match, and sometimes you just get stomped. Maybe you get some kill streaks along the way, unlocked a new gun, some new camos, a couple of attachments. It is what it is, and it's mostly a casual fun experience. The game ends, you transition to the next match with an entire group of new players. It reminds you of a time that you could group up with friends who maybe don't play as much as you do. They don't keep up with the meta, but because the lobbies are random, you can all still have a good time. And you don't feel like if you play well, you'll be punished in the next game by being thrown into a lobby where every player matches your skill level. Playing in these type of matches reminds you of when multiplayer games weren't controlled by algorithms and lobbies were built instead at random from a big available player pool, prioritizing only ping. Maybe there's one other good player in the lobby and you have occasional trades and micro battles with them, but that's cool. You might learn a few things from them. They might learn a few things from you. And the variety of this lobby also adds to the enjoyment too. You don't have to use meta weapons to compete. You don't have to hold angles. You don't have to jump peek every corner. You can experiment with different strategies and weaponry. You can do silly things, try classes and guns that you don't usually play, and it feels like much more of a sandbox environment than a hyper competitive esports match where there's nothing on the line. Essentially, XDefiant isn't taking itself too seriously in its casual matchmaking, which feels refreshing to me and many other players. It's only a game comes to mind, which is a stark contrast to many of the latest Call of Duty titles, which feature strict matchmaking across the board in their popular game modes. The old definitions of quick play and casual in COD have changed, especially as it now relies heavily on live service and retention. COD games are no longer the random experiences, prioritizing ping first, but they used to be. Your matchmaking pool is strict and controlled. heavily weighted towards skill rating and engagement, especially at peak times of the day where the player population is high and these systems can be more accurate. Some players go out of their way to try and subvert these systems too. If you have a basic understanding of the rules, then you can exploit them. Reverse boosting is a popular method where players will purposefully tank their in-game stats to make them seem like a worse player than they really are. Others go to the extreme of buying 2 extra consoles, tanking the stats on those accounts, searching for a match and then joining on the quote-unquote easier lobby with their main account, essentially playing in a game where your real skill has not been considered at all. I've done a little bit of research on this today, and from what I've managed to find online, the reverse boosting method started to get discussed in depth around 2012 with the release of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Believe it or not, content creators were making videos on it back then, and some are still on YouTube. But it was a year later in 2013 with the release of COD Ghosts and 2014's Advanced Warfare that volume of this topic really started to ramp up. In fact, Sledgehammer Games, the developers of Advanced Warfare, stated that they would ban players who were detected doing this in a blog written by co-founder and former studio head Michael Condrey. In it, he said, "No one wants to lose an objective-based match by effectively being outnumbered while their teammate shoots grenades into their own forehead 100 times in the corner. It's not right and it hurts you and your team's online experience, and we have increased our focus on reverse boost banning to combat the growing issue. No one is trying to restrict the fun factor of playing Advanced Warfare with this policy, nor are we actively banning against particular styles of play like trick shots. However, we have a low tolerance approach to people who ruin the experience for others through cheating, boosting, reverse boosting, or being caught with toxic emblems in game." So back when Advanced Warfare was the latest COD game, these SBMM systems were in full effect, and reverse boosting was actually considered a bannable offense. But why are these skill-based matchmaking systems so popular in online shooters? Let's take a look at what an Overwatch 2 developer blog from December 2022 had to say about that. Bear in mind that this is in the context of their unranked mode. Ultimately, the goal of Matchmaker is to create as fair matches as possible across all game modes. Our Matchmaker is designed to create balanced matches. To do that, we need some approximation of each player's skill. Everyone has an internal matchmaking rating, MMR. That's a numerical value to describe your skill relative to everyone else. However, MMR isn't an absolute value, meaning your MMR can change even if your personal skill stays the same. This could indicate the general population is getting better or worse compared to you. You can see this in the example below that displays player MMR in quick play, with most of us right around the middle of the curve. We're continuing to analyze data, tune values, and evaluate more changes to the matchmaker. Our highest hope is to make a match that feels fun for everyone, even the team that loses. We feel strongly that the best way to achieve this is to make matches that are as fair and balanced as possible. And I think that shows the level of information that these systems are gathering about you as a player, and then applying that to the matchmaker, even in casual quick play modes. Other game developers speak highly of SBMM systems too. I found an article from Vice here posted in 2020, and in that they spoke with Josh Menk, a game developer who's worked on Call of Duty and Halo. He said the following: "During Halo 5, we have tested both extremely loose and extremely tight matchmaking with both systems. I've seen zero evidence that matchmaking tightly on Halo 3's skill system leads to quitting." Menk said in an email, "In addition, when I look at TrueSkill 2 data, I see ample evidence that matchmaking more tightly on skill leads to significantly less quitting, 4 to 6 times less. From the outside, I've noticed more and more very popular games adopting SBMM, and I sort of assume that it's because they're seeing the same data I am," he said. Despite a vocal minority in some games not liking SBMM, and for the most popular games that minority can be 100,000 plus players, devs are seeing a clear link between higher engagement and tighter matchmaking. Being in development myself, I've noticed studios don't tend to add stuff as involved as SBMM unless the data really supports it. XDefiant, however, is throwing all of that out of the window for their casual matchmaking experience. Some may see this as a gamble, especially when other developers are saying that SBMM works, but as we previously mentioned, many players are welcoming this decision with open arms, and I really think that this choice is driving variety and fun in this game at the moment. Those are the two key words here for the player experience with XDefiant. If they don't change their minds on this, quick playing casual will always remain casual in this game. Drop in, drop out, do whatever you like, play however you like without it exhausting you, and every match feeling hyper competitive where you play against clones of yourself. That's how COD feels to many people nowadays, and it can get draining over time. XDefiant might be the ones to buck the trend. We'll have to see. And with that said, that's all for today, folks. Do let me know your thoughts on XDefiant and all of this down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.